All right, we're back. So yeah, recently there was some, is it news, kind of news, bit of conflict, and it was from, it was actually from, I think, Martin Scorsese. I don't actually know how he started off, but I remember seeing Simu Liu, who's like one of the Marvel stars. He is Shang-Chi. And yes, I think he was responding to like something either Martin Scorsese said or Quentin Tarantino, who are both like, movie directors, or I don't know what they are. I think they're directors or producers, but they're like top Hollywood people, right? They make some, very popular movies. I'm not going to say good because I don't think they're all good, but they make hugely popular movies. And something along the lines of like Martin Scorsese was saying how, oh yeah, Marvel films aren't real films or actual cinema. And yeah, so like Simu Liu was like saying things like, oh yeah, well, if it wasn't for Marvel, I wouldn't have got a spot in cinema acting, and just talking about diversity. Something along the lines of that. I'm not going to like read out all the tweets, but they were basically having conflicting arguments regarding really what actual cinema is and what isn't. And then a bit of race came up and like diversity and all that stuff. And then Quentin Tarantino went on a famous podcast, and yeah, I mean, he wasn't even saying anything about what his movies was not, but he got asked about Martin Scorsese's comment about how Marvel isn't actual cinema. And then Quentin, he wasn't saying anything directly, but he was just saying how you have to look at Martin, his age. Do you think he really cares about Ant-Man, who I presume is a Disney Marvel, not Disney, a Marvel character? And he's got a point, right? And it kind of begs the question of, is Marvel real cinema? And I think it is. I mean, they are filming stuff. And I just think really, again, I'm not a Marvel fan. I don't really care about Marvel. In my opinion, I've just found it so confusing. To the point I don't even bother. I haven't seen many Marvel. Well, that's a lie. I haven't seen the Marvel universe per se. The only Marvel film I've seen recently was Shang-Chi. But apart from that, like, I don't understand any of this, like Marvel, Doctor Strange, all this stuff. I think it's just a different time. And I think, even the whole question of is Marvel real cinema, I don't even care, I think what's more interesting was regarding when Quentin was saying stuff like he doesn't use CGI, he uses special effects, which I thought was the same thing, but I don't think it is. And he said something along the lines of, if it was not filmed on the day, it does not exist. So basically saying that, I think with Marvel, when they film it, some scenes they don't even need to film anything; they just use CGI and computers, right? Whereas obviously with Quentin, he uses special effects, so he still needs to like actually film stuff. And then he'll send it off to like some special effects team to like edit it a little bit, I think. But I thought it was quite interesting, because it just shows that, it's probably more effort really. And it's actually, I think it's way more fun as an actor to be filming with like Quentin compared to like with, the Marvel people, because, you actually have to act with Quentin stuff, I think. I saw a video recently about Spider-Man and how apparently some actual scenes of like Tom Holland's movie, Tom Holland's not even in it, like not even what do you call it, like a double act. It's not even like a stunt double. There's no stunt double. It was literally scenes where they just used a computer and just made a fake Spider-Man cartoon person, whatever, using it. So I thought that was really interesting. But kind of looking at, and it kind of lends to one thing I realised about Martin, how, he's what I said earlier on about how Quentin and Martin, they make popular movies. I said popular, not good. I love Quentin Tarantino's movies a lot. But in my opinion, and again, it's subjective, but I'm not a fan of Martin Scorsese's movies, and a lot of these things I see, and especially with trending stuff, you see one movie is like The Taxi Driver, everyone says it's one of the best movies of all time. And I watched it, and I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I just think it's a change in time. You got to think about the graphics, the quality of the actual, camera, the audio, just the way it sounds, all of those kind of variables, I think, do impact how movies are perceived. And, when I was watching Taxi Driver, I wasn't really wowed. I think it's just a change in generation. I do like action movies. And I think that's where Quentin was kind of saying about, Martin, he's not going to like any Marvel because he's part of a different... I mean, to put it bluntly, Quentin did say stuff like he's old or whatever. And yeah, I mean, it's just someone like me, I didn't grow up in Marvel. I didn't. I saw some of the early Spider-Mans with Tobey Maguire. But, generally speaking, I didn't really grow up in Marvel. But someone like me now, looking at a film like Taxi Driver, I'm going to be honest, I did not enjoy it. I did not find it that, thrilling. And it's a thriller. It is a thriller. And I wasn't really impressed. Compared to me seeing a movie like Get Out, loved it. Really did. And yeah, I think it's just a change in time, really. Even a film like Top Gun. Yeah, Top Gun that came out in, I think, the 80s, and you had the recent Top Gun that came out. Such a good film. I've seen both. And you have to think, right? For someone like, if you were to introduce someone into Top Gun, you'd probably say, do you know what? Watch the first one and then watch the newest one. But again, it's such a change in, so long ago that movie was made, where now I don't even bother saying, oh yeah, watch the old one first. I just say, watch this new one. Just because I know that is not, the first Top Gun wasn't bad, and I did like it, but it was not really thrilling to watch. Again, that's technology. So, from Martin's perspective, he's probably, thinking now that technology's got so far that it's literally changed what a cinema is to him. So again, I think it's not like if it's not cinema, if it is Marvel's Marvel, I think they are still cinema. It's just technology's really changed. But I do still, appreciate. That's why Tom Cruise, I think, is so good. I think because he doesn't really use much CGI or special effects. He just does his own stunts, and it's just incredible. He's one of these actors who, he's probably the only actor now who's actually doing his own shit. And that's why I've been watching a few of his movies. One of his movies I saw recently, let me just check. It is called Collateral. Yeah, Collateral. Came out in 2004. I watched that recently. It was so good. I genuinely think it's one of his best movies. And that's why he is obviously, renowned as one of the best film stars of all time. So yeah, I think it's just changing times. And and one thing I will say that's kind of funny is Simu Liu kind of said how the old Hollywood is white as hell, and he's probably true, but you shouldn't say that to someone like Quentin Tarantino or Martin Scorsese when they've had movies with many different kinds of people, and not just as supporting actors or extras, but main films and main characters with diverse people. You really can't say that. Nah, these people, yeah. Before I go, what is my favourite Quentin Tarantino movie? Probably is going to be, I think it's going to be, I think Django. I really like Django. And it's funny because he said his favourite one is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I thought wasn't bad. Martin Scorsese, I can't even name a movie that I like of his. Actually, do you know what? I think Wolf of Wall Street, is that Martin movie? Wolf of Wall Street. It is. Yeah, fine. Wolf of Wall Street. That was a good movie. But damn, that's changed a lot. But yeah, I mean, let me know your thoughts. I don't think anyone's really in the wrong here. I think it's just generational issues, just differences. And I mean, look, even a movie like Top Gun, even though it was critically acclaimed back in the 80s, if you were to watch it now, it's not really going to blow your socks off, especially someone who's like didn't grow up in that time. But hey, maybe watch it. But again, I'd say watch the new Top Gun instead of the old one, because that one is lit. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoy this commentary, and peace.